Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. Happy Monday. Happy National Championship Football Monday as the Michigan Wolverines are taking on the Washington Huskies in the background of this podcast Monday. Happy Monday following a massive victory, making me fired up, making me more than 2 feet in, 10 toes down at BYU. The Ken Palm darling, the metric darling, the media darling. Massive victory there. Happy Monday to that. And also a massive, gargantuan, unbelievable Happy Portal Monday. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, but 7 portal additions in the last 2 days for your Bearcat football team as they get ready, fired up in the weight room with Nico Palizzetti. Year 2 of Coach Scott Satterfield. Year 2 of the Big 12. And we're fired up. It's also a Monday as well. Remember to bring in my pals, 2 guys right now. Maybe 3. There might be 3. But for now, 2 guys. Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm good. Made some smoked some wings tonight, and then
For the national championship. Smart.
and I ran up to Jungle Gyms Saturday, and when I go there, like I spend half of my time there in the sauce aisle, looking at all sauces, and I'm a big sauce. You barbecue a lot, you're sauce guy,
Right?
So I got some Slap Your Mama buffalo wing sauce.
Okay.
And some Sweet Baby Ray's Carolina mustard sauce.
Yes, sir.
And I mixed them and put them on my wings tonight, and it was awesome.
Is the Slap Your Mama some dry rub?
No, it's a hot wing sauce, buffalo sauce.
Because we use the Slap Your Mama like
it started as a rub. Yeah, it started as a rub. But I saw they had a wing sauce, so I was like, ooh, I like the rubs, not as much as Meat Church. I like the rubs. So I tried the sauce, and it was delicious.
Like the way you rub on that chicken wing makes it tasty. So did you? What are you, a drum or a?
I like both. If I had to pick, I would pick flats.
Okay.
I think the flavor's better.
Chad, who did you have going into the game? Huskies or Wolverines?
Probably Michigan, and just they're so much better at the point of attack on both sides. Right. But I mean, Washington's offense is high octane, so Michigan could dominate the point of attack, and Penix gets a couple deep balls, and it changes the whole dynamic. So
it's going to be exciting. 7-0 as we're watching right now, but Huskies driving. Both teams have only had the ball once. That's how good the offense have been so far. But Aaron, sir,
and we're at 6 minutes left in the first quarter. This it's moving, Brent. It's not good for you.
BBP's gonna be moving too. Aaron, how are we, sir?
I'm good. It's Monday. I did get this little gem finished. My Lego Nippert.
Wow. Oh, baby. Now that looks like you gotta be real careful with the fingers on that puppy.
Pretty cool.
Gotta be real careful with your fingers on that.
And then got my little Bearcat also.
That's a Lego too?
Yeah.
Is it a bobblehead?
The head swivels and the arms and legs move, but it's got a tail.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Golly, look at you. New accessories.
Yeah.
The accessory man. Love it. I love it. Well, happy Monday to you, Aaron. Did you cook up anything special for the national championship food-wise?
Thanks.
He doesn't care about the national championship.
Yeah. The kids are playing Fortnite.
Okay.
I don't care.
Wow.
I made cracked chicken just because it was easy crock pot meal.
Okay. Well, hell yeah. Lock it on in. Well, if you're in your car, I advise you to put the phone down. Do not turn on the national championship and drive. But if any bozo out there does that, and then they lose a hubcap, or happy to see themselves bump into a curve, make you so mad you want to slap your mama. But you know what? If it happens, and you got to go get your car fixed, head on over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe will hook you up. I just got an oil change today. I couldn't figure it out with Danco Joe. I apologize, Danco Joe. But man, I know you would have hooked it up a lot better than old Jiffy Lube did here in Indy. But you know what? Head over to Danco Joe. $10 off your next oil change. 10% off your next fixing. Danco Joe. Mention Chad. Mention Aaron. Mention Wes Miller and the Cincinnati Bearcat basketball team. Get it all done. Get it all figured out. Danco Joe, we love you guys. We love you. But let's dive right in to the order at hand. That is your Cincinnati Bearcat basketball team. I tell you what, that first half you're watching, you're feeling little flashbacks of the Evansville first half. You're feeling a little frustrated, a little concerned for what is to come the rest of the way this year. And then all of a sudden, they come back. They pull out a fantastic win, arguably the best win of the Wes Miller tenure, 71-60 on the road. BYU goes down. Cincinnati Bearcats right now, 29th in the AP poll, 28th in the coaches poll, 27th in Ken Pom, rising in the net. Tell you what, this is it's a team where all of a sudden you see the pieces start to mesh. You see the action come out on the court. Now you're walking away at about midnight, little 12:30 a.m. on a Saturday night, feeling excited, feeling fired up. Chad, Aaron, you guys had a nice little nightcap. Good group of people in that nightcap. I tell you what, I'm sure you
people were excited.
Yeah, I'm sure you mowed over not only how exciting that was, but you mowed over a little bit more about the basketball game itself. So tell me a little bit about how in your feels, how excited you were all throughout that Saturday night fun.
Well, look, doing a 12:40 in the morning live show is the mood is very dependent on what happens on the floor.
Oh yeah.
And as Aaron will attest, the mood on Saturday night was impeccable. If they would not have won, it would have been a different tone to the evening. And if you're going to stay up that late and you're going to be live until we were live until what, Aaron? Almost 2, like right at 2 we went off the air.
Roughly.
If you're going to be up that late, you would much rather positive vibes than negative vibes. So the positive vibes with a very large audience was well received. So we thank everybody for that.
It's awesome. I listened back to it, and hey, I tell you what, when people are excited, people are happy. Seems like you might have had a couple with the money line, a couple with the 10.5 point spread as well, maybe spreading that post holiday cheer around, if you will. But man, the game itself, another tale of two halves. But for me, a little bit more a tale of a full game, because you look at how bad offensively the Bearcats were in the first half. The fact that they were only down 7 against a high-powered offensive team on the road, that just tells you the type of defense that the Bearcats were playing throughout that entire game, especially in the second half. But guys, what's the main takeaways a couple days removed?
Well, you make a good point there, Brent. First half they had 13 turnovers. They shot 28% from the floor, 7 of 25 from the floor, 33% from 3, 2 of 6 from three-point land. The two things that kept them in this game, free throws, they were 8 of 9 from the foul line. And then defense, with BYU only having 31 points. Because if if BYU gets to 42, like even anywhere near their average, if they get there, this thing's probably out of reach by halftime. So, yeah, the offense struggled, but you got to the line, and you played good defense, and you rebounded, and that gave you a chance as you got into the second half.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Those $30 in donations, Connor. I bought Aaron a box of diapers.
Wow. Congrats, Aaron.
Aaron's like, you did? Send them now.
That's
please.
news to me.
Uh-oh.
Wow, Royer. Did not expect Royer on National Championship Monday.
I told you he was coming. You didn't believe me?
On National Championship Monday, I can't believe it. Hey, unmute yourself, Royer. Act like you've been here before and tell us how the hell are we?
He's still muted. He can't figure it out.
Super muted. He has forgotten how
you're
forgotten how computers
muted. Work. You're unbelievably slow. He's gone. National Championship Monday. I told you. He said
that couldn't have been funnier.
He's about to text us and say, guys, I tried. He's going to say
the comedic timing on that was impeccable.
he saw Washington made the field goal and then immediately said, "All right, I tried, guys. Sorry." Back to the game. But yeah, I guess Aaron's going to go try and be IT from Athens. Good job. But yeah, Chad, I mean the defense is something obviously that is mentioned quite a lot in the second half, and you kind of look at that first half as well, and you just see no flow offensively for the Bearcats, and really no flow for BYU. And the flow that they did have was, it's like Khalifa dishing out dimes like he's sitting front row at a Florida State football game. It's also like you saw a couple of threes made by one player in particular.
Kevin now.
Yeah. Trevor Nell the entire time was the guy, the man. We're talking about the second half and obviously the decision Mark Pope made. But there was really no one that stepped up in the first half for Cincinnati. I think Vic led the team with 6 points. And then after that, it's kind of spread out of who picked their poison here and there. I mean, obviously it was a fast start, but 5 quick points, and then you kind of don't do anything for the next four or five so odd minutes. So the defense is what had to keep you in the game throughout that stretch. Did you think it was kind of just a weathering of the storm and trying to figure things out in that first half, or was it just everyone was out of sorts? I don't know. It to me, it just seemed like it's hard to really put a pin on exactly what it was.
The answer is always usually the most simple answer, and it's that they didn't play well. Like they were making unforced errors, unforced turnovers. Like BYU's not a team that is trying to turn you over. Like they play a fundamental sound defense, but they're not way out in the passing lanes. They're not challenging everything. So a lot of just dumb, silly, like almost trying to do too much, like trying to roll everything all into one ball and make it on one play. And that's just not how basketball works. They missed some easy shots. They didn't get a lot of shots just because of how bad the turnovers were, and they fueled. That's where that kills you, is especially against a team like BYU, Brent.
Mm-hmm.
They hit a three, you turn it over. They hit a three, you turn it over. They hit a three. I believe they went from up 1 to down 8, like that. It was like 45 seconds.
Yeah,
and you can't play that well on defense and then just give up 9 points because of your offense. Like, that's the little stuff in that first half that it should have looked a lot different, but they played poorly.
Right.
I don't think it was overlooking anybody. I don't think it was anything other than they didn't execute well, and it burned them in a couple different areas. But they were good enough in 3 areas: rebounding, free throws, defense, and that that made it so that we didn't all turn the game off at 11.
Right. I mean, it's crazy though. 22 3-point attempts in that first half by BYU. They only shot 2 free throws in that first half, but it was a Trevin Knell show, as we've mentioned already. 4 made threes. But the other thing that you see is Khalifa, as I mentioned, had the 4 of his 6 assists in the first half. Then of course you also look down, the leading scorer Jackson Robinson scored all 5 of his points in the first half in 11 minutes. He knocked down his only 3, obviously. And then he got completely shut down in the second half. This is a guy that's starting to get some buzz for the NBA draft coming up, some second round buzz. It's a guy that is kind of seen as the only non-shooter on the team, if that makes sense. Could obviously do a lot more than just spot up and hit threes, but he couldn't get anything going in the second half, and that's kind of
a
piece.
How about our guy Chris Lepore highlighting him and saying, this is what they need to take away. And guess what? It's almost like that guy has a pretty keen insight into the brain of Wes Miller.
Oh yeah. Lepore might know a little bit more than the average fan. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I thought obviously we'll jump right into the second half, Aaron, unless you got anything on the first half.
No, I mean, it was Josh Reed was kind of the guy who kept us in the first half, right?
Yeah. I thought he
John Newman.
John was steady. That's who he is, though. He's the quiet, steady guy who goes double digits every game. You have no idea how he even got there. But that's the quick burst of 6 points here and 4 points there. Yeah.
Vic was the leading scorer at 6. I mean, when you only score 24, ain't gonna be a lot of points on the board for many guys. But yeah, there wasn't a lot good to talk about in the first half.
Seamus 3 turnovers, Vic 3 turnovers, Newman 3 turnovers. Day only 2 of his 7 turnovers in the first half. But
wow.
We'll come on. They won the game. I'm excited. And then but Reed came in, knocked down his only shot attempt in the first half, which was
Brent, look.
Wow, again.
Same
MVP.
guy. Donovan Edwards.
What a stud. It's not Blake Corum, it's Donovan Edwards, man. Come on. We know this.
Aaron, I'm like 30 seconds ahead of him too.
You are, yeah. I got
another reason. Just another reason why I don't want to watch it.
Uh-oh. Guess who's back?
Wow, National Championship Monday, Royer.
Hey man, it's BYU beatdown Monday, baby. I'm here for that.
Gosh, dude, that's the same reason I'm here.
Let's go.
I gave him the opportunity. I gave him the opportunity to take the night off. He's like, nah, I'm gonna be there. Dog.
Oh, gave the opportunity. Please. All right, we'll call it.
You had the same opportunity. I had you both covered.
Well, Royer and I will just hold hands as we watch this game. You have it on in the background, Royer?
I don't. I might throw it on my laptop though.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
The hockey boys are watching out in the living room, so I'll know if anything big happens.
What's the feeling in your house, Michigan or Washington?
My roommate went to Ohio State, so he wants Michigan to win.
Michigan.
I mean Washington. But then my other roommate doesn't really know shit about college sports, so he
would have been great if you just stopped there. He just doesn't know shit about college in general. He doesn't know what it's about.
We're going to talk about your cousin committing a little bit later, so be ready about that. How about that?
Afro cousin?
Hey now, how?
Yeah.
But yeah, so second half obviously is the entirely different trail in this whole entire game. Royer, did you get to watch the whole thing or?
No, I was not watching. I was out with some friends Saturday night.
Oh come on! You couldn't put it on at the bar?
Well, it's because I was with my girlfriend and some of her friends, and where we were at, they weren't going to have basketball on. It wasn't my choice.
Hold on. What's that? Oh, what?
Yeah, you
Wow.
can hear that one pretty far. Yeah. I always keep tabs though on ESPN Gamecast on the ESPN app. So
last time I did
the
that
score
was
bounce back and forth.
Lance Stevenson's year. They were playing UAB at UAB is the last time I game casted an old basketball game. You remember that one, Chad?
I do.
Robert Vaden, I think, was on UAB that year.
I think he was, yeah.
That was a bad game. They lost.
It was ugly.
Yucky shooting. Everything was yucky. Hey,
that was pretty early after Maui, wasn't it? Like they came back from Maui on this high, and then UAB. Was it the game after Maui? It might be the game after Maui.
Let me pull it up. Let's take a look.
I think I remember us talking about like it's difficult to come back from Hawaii and then jump right back into like non-conference play.
Yeah, so they went to Maui.
They played Gonzaga in the championship game.
Yeah, it was a few games after that. It was after the double overtime Xavier game.
Okay.
What
was the first game after Maui?
Texas Southern. They won 94-57.
Okay.
Then Miami of Ohio 63-59. Then that stupid team in Norwood. Then UAB they lost 64-47. But that was then. This is now. This is now, man. And speaking of now, a half triple made by BYU, and that's when you start to think, okay, here we go. But I think it was so key to have that response by Vic. Then the attack by Day, 2 free throws at the line, and then you get the mythical triple, knocked down by one Aziz Bandago. And I tell you what, second half was on a roll after that. I want to mention this real fast. Only 2 players on BYU scored in double figures in the game on Saturday. In the second half, guess how many Bearcats scored in double figures?
3 or 4.
Chad got it. Good job. 3. Answer's 3. 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists by Vic. 10 points in that 7-minute spurt by Jizzel. 10 points, 8 rebounds in the second half for one Aziz Bandago. Guys, that second half
Dan was close too, wasn't he? 7 or 8
points in the second half, yeah. But guys, that was some of the best Bearcat basketball you've seen in a long, long time, right?
Well, Brett, you hit on it. Like you missed saying the thing that matters. In the first half, the leading scorer had 6 points. In the second half, they had 4 guys with more than 6 points. Skilling 7, Locken 10, James 10, Bandago 10.
Yep.
Crazy.
And it wasn't fluky either. Wow.
No, they took it right at it and punched him in the mouth in the second half. They didn't hit a bunch of threes. They were 4 for 9 in the second half, which, or not 4 for 9 in the second half, which is solid. But they took what BYU's defense gave them. They played downhill, they got to the foul line, and they hit quality threes when necessary.
Yeah, they did. Aaron, you have always been the Jizzel man down there, Mr. Jizzel. I tell you what, 10 points, 7 minutes, explosion, huge minutes out of the freshman.
Yeah, you got to find ways to get him on the floor at this point. I know that there's lots of people who say that he's a defensive liability. Regardless, I think at times this team has struggled to find somebody who is creating a shot, and Jizzel James is not afraid to do just that. There were times in the first half where the offense was not moving around a whole lot, and I feel like when Jizzle's on the floor, this offense moves. They go. And I feel like you have to find places to, whether it comes at Day-Day's expense or whoever's, you cannot play him only 13 minutes in a game at this point anymore.
I will say the 13 minutes were a direct result of they couldn't play him in the first half because he got beat like a drum.
I get it.
Like, so that's why the minutes, like if you're looking half to half, that's why the minutes were down. In the second half, Jizzel played 10 and Day-Day only played 5. Or no. That's not minutes. Day-Day played 13, Jizzel played 7. That's,
Look, Jizzel might need, in between games, Jizzel might need to be hanging out with Josh Reed and John Newman and trying to figure out how to get that jump start on your defense. But I don't know that it's only going to go up from here, both offense and defense. So,
he's getting better. I know it's hard for fans, but allowing a kid to just get better at a reasonable rate so that you don't expose him and play him too many minutes and then he loses his confidence because he's not playing well. Like if you look back to 2 games before this, he didn't play well. Now there is something to be said, Aaron. What we are learning from Jizzel is when the bright lights go on, he's ready. Right? Like in the bigger games, he's been a spark in all of those games. He's got to get more consistent. He's got to play better defense. And as that happens, he will play a lot more because I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to say he is very realistically the long-term future of this program as like the marquee guy, the guy that's on the posters.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it's not there yet, but it's coming.
You got it. You got to feel there were certain stretches in that second half where you were like, okay, just give the ball to Jizzel and let him do something.
Yes.
And you think in your
and
mind, yeah, he did. But and you think in your mind, you're like, if you just do that, like have him be the guy. I mean, yes, I think his numbers will probably go up a little bit minute wise, but he's just showing things like you said. He's a gamer. Some guys are gamers, where they really show when the bright lights are on, and the bright lights are going to be on for the rest of the regular season, all throughout postseason play. So
I'm sure
really
Royer can tell you this.
I like that. What's that?
I'm sure Royer can tell you this. He's played with guys that when the stress hits, when game pressure hits, most guys, it does not affect them the way it does the really good ones. The really good ones, when that game pressure hits, they calm down. Like they see things slower. Everybody else is sped up and like caught up in the moment. And those dudes that have it, Ryan, am I wrong? Their body temperature works different.
Yeah, like Kobe Bryant, Des Ridder, Ahmad, Darian Beavers too. Actually, Darian Beavers was cool, calm, collected all the time. Really surprised. Joel was a little more on the crazy intense side, as we could imagine that one.
Cook,
yep. Cook was solid. Derek Forrest,
yeah.
Basically our whole secondary at all times during the last.
That's why they're all in the NFL.
Every NFL player we had.
But Majay was like a good example of a guy that you kind of just let get on that edge of insanity and rage, and it just made him play just that much more aggressive, that much quicker. I think it kind of fit his play style and his role in our defense really well as like an example of an opposite of what you're getting at.
Yeah.
We won't mention the Memphis game, but the whole edge of his, which Jizzel plays with that kind of I hate this. Everyone mentions Desmond James, the running back, but Jizzel plays with just that extra, just grit and aggressiveness that, the first half, it wasn't there for the entire Cincinnati team. They were playing sound defense. They were being gritty on that side, but offensively, no one was deciding to just take the ball and say, okay, no one's stopping me. I'm going to get to the bucket and get a point. And he showed that was the ability to do that was there. And I think everyone kind of just fed off it after that. And I think we also started to see the second half, especially the latter half. Aziz Bandago is an absolute beast. He is an animal. You might say Victor Lockett had the best game on Saturday night, but I think Aziz, man, the minutes we saw out of him, especially coming off of the injury, it shows you why he was so coveted out of the portal. It shows you why, Wes went to bat for him and Jamil all the time, not only because they're great, guys, and he wants them on the team and playing, but they're phenomenal players. And Aziz, some of his plays, he was dunking everything. He was aggressive. He's a dog. And it reminded me of you saw James White tweeting. You saw a lot of people tweeting saying like, defensive intensity and playing unselfishness. And this is Bearcat basketball. And Aziz was really showing me something on Saturday night.
He looked comfortable, right? Like we haven't seen that really since his first game, where he just looked comfortable. That goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. I mean that one where he dunked it and then he like kicked it and then he like did a pull up on the rim. I mean,
remember that one time that Aziz dunked it and then he kicked it and then he did a pull up on the rim.
We didn't talk. We didn't even talk about this the other night, Chad. But the delay of game call and all of the time that it took to actually make that call and all that took longer than the actual delay of game.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to they were trying to throw the ball to the inbounder and he raised his arm up and smacked it away. Like, you're not allowed to do that, unfortunately.
He caught it and he threw it to the official.
No, there was a hand in there that knocked it away at some point. His hand knocked it away. When you watch the replay, it didn't. Aaron, it didn't look like a delay game on live.
I thought it was the hanging on the rim that they called it.
No, like as the ball, like he smacked it. I think he was like being going to be excited, and he hit the ball and it smacked it away. So it was a delay of game. I hate that call. I think it's stupid, but I get it. It's an actual.
I guess that's why I was surprised he didn't get called a delay of game when he hung on the rim later in the game that Brent's talking about, where he did kick it. And
yeah.
Oh, well.
But yeah, I mean, phenomenal game. It was a win. Obviously, we could continue to beat on the drum that you guys have already beat on for.
No, let's keep going.
Minutes on Saturday night,
Let's keep going.
It was, of course, the day
to talk about.
Yeah, of course, the day turnover thing down the stretch, and Wes saying he was out there for his defense and his ability to break the press and knock down free throws. So that stuff makes sense. But at the same time, he had 4 turnovers in the last 6 minutes of gameplay.
He also, in the final 4 minutes, orchestrated 3 easy fast break dunks and made 4 free throws.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So yeah, it was like an even out thing, I guess.
Now, here's the thing. I think that if they would have gotten it, and I think this is what Wes was talking about, like they were up. If it gets down to 5 or 4, Jizzle's in the game, right? Like you have to have the offense. Yeah. So you put Jizzle in the game, but that thing hung between 7 and 12, and you were never within 2 scores. Like you were never within like a real danger zone where you had to get the guy that was getting you buckets on the floor. And more than anything, I know this from the preseason, they love Day as a one-man press break.
Yeah.
They will take a mistake or 2 with it because they know nobody can stay. He just is able to get down the floor, head up. And you saw with the 3 dunks, like that was a direct result of the defense adjusting to Day as a one-man, doesn't need to like pass and get it back. And like just zoop. All right, now your defense is on its heels and we can punish you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's going to be a talk that has been, brought up, but it's good to have that healthy conversation when you're still talking about a double-digit win on the road against
Sure.
a top 25 team and media metric darling, and media metric darling, the
Here's
BYU
the thing.
Cougars.
I don't mind the conversation that Jizzel needs to get some more minutes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But this entire narrative that, like, it has to be one or the other, like, off with Day-Day's head because Jizzel needs more minutes.
Right.
It's lazy. It's dumb and it's lazy. Yeah. They have needed both to get to where they're at this point.
Right.
And they're going to continue to need both the rest of the way. So this necessity that some people feel to the only way to bring one up is to tear the other down. Get a grip, man. Get a grip. Like, if you really want to go back and break down, if you really want to make it an argument, which is dumb, then the other side has to go back and say, okay, well, in the last 3 games before this, Jizzel was 2 for 12 from the floor and scored 6 points combined.
Right.
But the numbers are, he had a bad couple games before this.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't force the other side to tear down Jizzel. Right. Because it's okay to be like, look, Jizzel is playing well enough, I think, to start seeing more minutes. Yeah. And I think everybody would agree with that. It doesn't have to be get Day-Day off the floor. Like, he has been really good through 14 games.
Yeah.
So that part of it is what drives me nuts. That it doesn't necessarily have to be this guy sucks because I think my guy should be playing more. It's one of the dumb things that we get sucked into the social media feeding frenzy. Everybody's got to have a hot take type.
Yeah. Well, it's like all the people who wanted to fire Wes before after, like,
right
in the first, at any point during the first half to the end of halftime.
Well,
right.
I mean, that first half though, it had a lot of people in their feels.
Sure, they played like crap.
I'm really good at like I just go to a shell. You know what I mean? When things are going bad, I just phone is down, computer is away, and I'm just watching and I'm in my feels. But some people, they cannot do that. They have to like
gambling will do that
throw
to you,
shit at the wall and just see what everyone thinks about it. But what was that, Aaron?
I said gambling will do that to you, Brent.
You know what? It will, man. But that's what live bets are for. And you know what? You might hit a live bet once every 10 times, but when you do, and it's your favorite team too, you're like, oh wow, I'm gonna do this more and more. But that's that. But like I said,
you are their target audience.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
You are what every book wanted to find.
Oh,
they need 1,000 of you.
Yeah, my bookie loves me. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, it's just one of those situations where through a win, you even got to find something to kind of talk about, which is fine. And one thing you saw with the CJ injury is the fact that you're going to probably have to see some more lineups with both of them out there, and that means one of them is going to have to start to consistently knock down an open 3-pointer, which has been tough for both of them during certain stretches. I mean, they can knock down the occasional one, but if you can consistently knock down, because some of Day-Days are wide open. Jizzel kind of has that little line drive that's really good inside of the perimeter, but I don't know. We'll see what can happen there. But in a game where you might see actually quite a lot of both of them out there at the same time, might be tomorrow night. Texas.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Texas features 2. Anything more on BYU before we move on?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Well, one last thing also. So they brought back that Traore guy, that Fusini,
the big guy, Johan.
Fusini Traore guy, and completely took him like he had no effect in that game. Sure, it's his first game back after injury, but he was a key piece of their team last year. And
well, that's what I talked about. Like, if you're inserting him back in because he hasn't really done much this year, are you taking a chance at messing up the
Right,
flow?
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it did.
It
I
did.
think it did.
Him and that other backup, like the one with the kind of crazy name, like Ali Tiki something.
Ali Atiki.
Yeah.
Ali Atiki or whatever.
Whenever those guys were out there, you just saw how good our could have been a walking touchdown for the Huskies, but dropped pass. Maybe a little overthrown. Royer, I want a full Michael Penix game breakdown before we move on much further. But if you have the depth and the ability in the front court to completely take out certain players and just be dominant, which is what this Bearcat team has, it's exciting to see. But Texas is next tomorrow night, back to back.
It's a good matchup.
I love it, and I love that they're ranked. I love that they're ranked. Love it.
I don't like getting home at 6 a.m. Sunday morning and you're back Tuesday night on the floor. I don't love it.
True. Yeah.
I think it messes up your clock. Like I don't love that side of it. Am I wrong, Royer?
No,
I know you guys don't play 2 games a week, but
just the travel alone, it beats you up. I mean, it took us we wouldn't get our legs under us until like Thursday after when we went out to the Rose Bowl and played UCLA. That's probably the furthest west I went. Yeah, and it was brutal. So I'm feeling for the guys there for sure, especially on a Tuesday. What is it, a 2-day turnaround? But this is part of the game, man. It's part of the gig. You got to show up.
Part of the Big 12. It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Texas is traveling in. So
you ever been to Lubbock? 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. It's hard. It's hard. This is what Bob was talking about. We'll see how smart Bob is tomorrow night.
Hey,
well placed. Chad,
but no,
well placed.
But if Dan Horde can do it, get in at 5 a.m. and then go and broadcast a Bengals game, man, I'll tell you what.
Dan doesn't use his legs to broadcast games. So
you never got high knees going up in the booth, Chad? Come on now. It's the best way to keep it rolling.
No, I've never once gotten. I usually just sit in my seat. And call the game.
The funniest part is back when I would call games and then I would see my color commentator stand up and I'd be sitting down. So I'd be like, are we really going to stand up during this whole game? And then I'd be like, all right, whatever, here we go. And stand up for the whole broadcast. It's just,
No, you're the play-by-play guy. You look at him and you go, sit down.
Yeah, well, when he's a former Mr. Basketball and I just let him do what he wants and I just roll with it. But anyway, outside of that,
sit down.
Mr. But this game against Texas, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So obviously the Bearcats didn't fare too well in the 2 games against teams that are similar to the Big 12, Xavier and Dayton in the non-conference. They did do well against Georgia Tech, but how good is Georgia Tech? I don't know. They got beat at home by Boston College over the weekend. But when it comes to teams with true roster makeup, true bigs, true wings, true guards, if you will, not kind of these funky lineups, and you've got a 6'8" big man and a 6'3", 4. With these true roster makeups, do you think that this depth in the front court and in the roster makeup of the multiple bigs really starts to shine and has the chance to really compete at a high level against these Big 12 teams? Because I think that you started to see that a little bit in the game against BYU, where it's not as it was widespread against them, but still you were able to play multiple bigs at one time. Texas is going to have a bunch of bigs to throw out on Tuesday night. I just feel like when you start to play teams with true roster build, you're going to see what this team looks like going up against it. And I think be shown.
I don't know. I hope West continues to play hot hands and not fall in love with rotations, but rather, play who's playing well. Odie came in for a couple minutes and did not look like he belonged, at least against BYU, and he got pulled real quick, and we didn't see Odie again. Josh Reed played good minutes. We saw, the only gripe we've already discussed is the Jizzel minutes, especially later in the second half. But outside of that, I think he played the hot hand pretty much all night, and I think that you're gonna have to continue to make those type of gut decisions and hope that they play right.
Chad,
There's going to be a lot of mixing and matching. Like, you're going to have to, there's going to be nights that Jamil is going to be a better option than Aziz, or playing Vic and Jamil together works better than playing Aziz and together or whatever. Like, but it's going to be on this staff to identify it and say, okay, we think tonight this is the piece to play. And then you focus on it and you hope it goes right. And the good news is, if it doesn't go right, you've got a second option on the bench that you can change course and go the other way. So, this is the hardest part about having 10 guys, 11, 10, 11 guys you feel like can play. You got to manage it. You got to get it right every night.
Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying at all, though, Chad? Where it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like with the multitude of bigs and the potential for big lineups, when you play teams that have a more traditional roster, you're able to kind of have that out there and use it as a strength instead of trying to figure out, oh shoot, we've got whoever's playing the 4 as a big man. He's got to figure out how to guard.
Well, I mean, it's as long as as long as the opponent doesn't maximize their advantage better than you do.
Right.
There are, if you play 2 bigs against what's now a traditional looking roster, that 4 guy can go around you. Or, you're playing bigger wings on guards because some teams are going to play 3 guards. And now you've got, a 6'5" and a 6'6" guy on them. If they can get past those guys and beat you off the bounce, all of a sudden your advantage doesn't mean a whole lot. Like, I know a lot of opponents have been posting up the guards from Texas.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's something you can do with John. Maybe that's something you can do with Dan. But if they're just if Max, is it Asmus?
ABMAS. So
somebody put on the board that it's German and it's pronounced like a double C.
I'm pretty sure he is German. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Asmus. If you put a wing on him and he just kills them off the dribble all night, you didn't win your advantage. Like they won, That's the thing about when you go, okay, we're gonna force you to do this. The end result is we're gonna force you to play into your weakness now. So who does it better?
Yeah, I love listening to opposing teams' coaches after they lose to Cincinnati in the press conference. I mean, well, luckily we don't play on the West Coast because we might not get the head coach's point of view. But the thing that I saw was Mark Pope mentioned how he hasn't seen a team as big and as long as Cincinnati and as physical as Cincinnati played.
Yeah.
BYU is going to be they're probably the number 1 team outside of maybe Baylor that is going to space you out and try and use backdoor cuts, which they completed some, and use their offensive movement and ability to pass the ball and knock down outside shots, which would negate the bigs and negate the physicality. But Cincinnati was able to find a way to use the physicality and the length to their advantage. So that kind of just drew my eye a little bit, and I saw, okay, well, maybe that's going to be the case the rest of the Big 12 because they're kind of matching up a little bit more with what a normal team with a normal roster make a pass. So it'll be excited to see how tomorrow night goes. Chad, I knew you'd like that. I don't think Royer and Aaron got my jab there, but either way. So yeah, Texas Max Asmus. We'll go with Tyrese Hunter, obviously. Dylan Mitchell, he's a freaky athlete, kind of just a de facto 4-man, but can't shoot a lick outside of the paint.
Yeah,
Caden Shedrick is a name, obviously, the Bearcat fans might kind of remember from the portal this past offseason from Virginia. He's a guy that was a little banged up in that Texas Tech game. Horton transferred from UCF. I'm sure Bearcat fans remember him. Brock Cunningham's been playing college basketball longer than Perry Ellis did at Kansas. Dylan Disu is another guy who's coming back from. He had a foot injury. Only played 5 games this year. He was actually at fifth third early in his career. If you knew that,
Yeah, I do.
At Vandy, he didn't play because he was hurt in that game, but he was here back in 2021.
He was good.
Yeah.
Never mind.
What were you gonna say?
I'm trying to think. He played on that AAU team with like Darius Garland, I think, and
was Neesmith on that team or was that different?
I think that was different. I'm trying to remember who all was on this team. It was one of the guys that was supposed to be like the next big thing, and it never really materialized. Forget it.
But yeah, I mean he's coming back from. He's played in 5 games like we mentioned, but he's kind of not really. He hasn't started any of the games yet. He's kind of slowly getting back into the flow. To be honest with you, Tyrese Hunter has been the one that's kind of exploded a little bit the last few games. Had 23 against UNC Greensboro, had 20 against Texas Tech. It kind of seems like if you stabilize the 2 guards that they have, Hunter and Max Avis, you can handle Texas. But obviously there's some factors, you don't want to get too overconfident after the big win against BYU. You don't want to feel a certain way about yourself, but
Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley?
Yeah, it was his AAU team. I think that was it.
He's still bopping around in the NBA. I think he might be on the Pistons. That team with 1,000 old.
How's that going? Yeah.
Number 1 overall. Yeah, him, James Wiseman, just Jalen Duren. But your thoughts tomorrow, Chad, Aaron. You guys obviously did the recap with after the Tech game on a Sunday night.
Can confirm is a Piston.
What are you guys wanting to see tomorrow? Which first off, it's going to be an electric atmosphere. Black, red stripes. Make sure you check your emails, check whatever section you're sitting in. Make sure you wear the right color stripe.
Are we going to finally see? Are we going to finally see the red jerseys make an appearance?
Ooh,
hadn't really thought of that. Maybe
they have not yet.
Can they stripe the? They're not allowed to stripe the team, Aaron.
I get that, but I mean, thought maybe.
So yeah, it's going to be black or red. Like it might be a red game.
Nostra Aaron must. I like it. There's going to be some black and red on the uniforms tomorrow, I would imagine. But anyway, tomorrow, Texas. Thoughts, feelings, what you want to see out there on the court at Fifth Third Arena.
I think it's a game as long as they're on like good to go. I think it's a game they can very, very confidently say that they've got a chance to win against what is right now at least a ranked team on their home floor. The thing I don't know about Texas, and they've had a couple chances to show this year, do they have any dog in them? The 3 good teams they've played, they've lost by double digits.
Happy you brought that up, Chad.
So do they have that? Because let's make no mistake, they didn't have a great out of conference.
Right.
They lost to open the league at home against Texas Tech.
Yep.
In theory, this should be a Texas back against the wall game.
Yeah.
Do they have the fight? If they do, I'm worried about tomorrow night because, like I said, I worry about the travel, having their legs back under them. It's a big time win, an emotional game, and then you have to turn around against a team that's desperately trying not to start 0-2 in the league.
You're worried about a team, about these guys having their legs back under them. Well, you only played Jizzel 13 minutes, so he should be ready for a 20-minute game. And
Jamil Reynolds.
And Jamil only played 5 minutes, so he should be ready for a 30-minute game.
Start
we got
Jamil and Odie, right? Yeah.
well, I wouldn't go that.
But as Ryan said, a lot of it is not the wear and tear on your body; it's the travel. Like, it takes a while in those situations to get your legs
It just
back.
takes a lot out of you, dehydrates you. It's definitely like you're just thinking, oh, you're just sitting on a plane for 2 hours, but you just like, or 5 hours, and you get off and you're just like, damn, dude, I feel like I just played 2 games, one on the field and one just sitting in the damn plane. But basketball is a little different than football, but the travel time's still the same. But
yeah, there's not 75 car wrecks every basketball game.
yeah. But I think I'm really looking forward to the atmosphere carrying the guys. I think Fifth Third's going to be rocking. Everyone's back on campus now. I think the student sections will be going nuts. I'm hoping the lower bowl seats, they might get out of their butts a little bit and cheer really loud for the Bearcats. They're going to need some extra motivation. I know that's a good little Twitter tease everyone likes to get into, but I think that'll really help carry the guys because, they'll be tired, that's for sure. But I think it's a really good test. Coming off a huge win, short travel, you need your leaders, your veterans to step up, and that's what I'm expecting them to do.
Look, we talked about how hard these first 6 games are. If you start 2-0, and you still got 2 more home games coming,
got a shot.
3-3.
Gotta win at home.
3-3. Get to 3-3 somehow through this 6.
Yeah. I mean, Texas took down the Fighting Kenny Paynes by 1 on a neutral court, 81-80. Lost by 10.
I think the BCJ staff could give Louisville a decent game.
Hey,
I'd probably take Louisville plus what? Plus 4.5.
We need Royer to be letting it rain, man. Let it rain. But yeah, UConn 10 points.
I got the strap on me a little bit.
Okay. Bring it that game. We need you. Aaron, what's the thing that they say? Chill.
Who?
Or like
who's
hold.
they?
What they say? Hold. Right?
What are you referencing?
Ooh.
You said you have the strap on you, like the strap.
Oh, like pause?
Yeah.
Are you saying like pause?
Pause.
Is that a pause? I don't think that's a pause.
Just slow it down. Pause.
I got the strap on me like that. If I do 2 on.
No. All right, we're moving on.
I don't know. I was confused when the BYU kids kept doing this. I didn't know what this meant every time that the camera panned on them.
Oh gosh, what does it mean?
I remember this, the Carmelo Anthony
the
celebration. I used to rip that shit in Little League whenever I made a 3. I thought I was so cool.
There you go, 3, baby. And then this back when Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson, Corey Maggette wearing the headband. But anyway, 10-point loss to UConn as well. 21-point loss at Marquette. And that was their only true road game throughout the entire season, was a road game at Marquette. And they lost that one. Their best win is a neutral court win against LSU. So Rodney Terry and the Texas Longhorns, it's a good team. And they're picked 3rd in the preseason Big 12. They've got good pieces, but it just seems like it's a game where at this point you can kind of pick and choose your way and maybe pull one out, especially at home. First ever Big 12 game at Fifth Third Arena. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be exciting. So get there. Make sure you see what you need to wear in your sections, whether it's red or black. Stripe out Fifth Third Arena. It's going to be exciting. Aaron, anything more? Royer, anything more?
Moving on.
Did we lose Chad?
No, he dropped out when it got weird with your
strap
talk.
Are we done yet?
Are we there yet?
Quick,
that is the timestamp. Brought to you by Quick Paper Supply. They're your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. There we go, Chad. So I'm gonna take you guys back. Do you remember? I believe it was which day was that, Chad? The day of the Fish concert in Indianapolis. You were here. Commits were flying in galore.
It was during the
End of
July,
May, right?
No, June official visits.
Yeah.
They were on they had 13, 14 guys on official visits, and I think 8 of them committed within a very, very minimal window. Yeah.
Did you have deja vu of that this
Well,
Sunday and
technically
Monday?
no, because I just made Keegan do it all.
Right. Well, the Bearcat football team, man. I tell you what, the transfer portal is alive and well in the 513. 7 commits in the past 2 days. Started with Darian Varner, defensive lineman, D end from Wisconsin, started at Temple, Walt Stewart connection, Logan Wilson, defensive back, Kansas State, Louisiana Monroe, North Texas for the Mean Green, his last year there. Chance Williams, running back, Grambling State. Jared Bartlett, probably the dog position here, coming from West Virginia, big-time player. Kai Miller, safety, New Mexico State, started at Miami of Ohio. Derek Canteen, really excited about this cornerback from Virginia Tech, started at Georgia Southern. And then Ryan Royer's cousin, Joe Royer, tight end, Ohio State, played at Elder during his high school days with Luke Kandra. Man, quite the haul the last couple of days. Chad, was this something you saw coming? Obviously, what the second round of official visits lined up, and
it's been interesting for me, learning the new windows. For the longest time, we knew exactly what the calendar looked like. So now you're learning the way that the new cycle works. The way that the new cycle works is the portal opens. It's a feeding frenzy. Everybody gets what they can get. And then you have 10 days to kind of reset and say, okay, here's what we got. Here's what we didn't get. Here's what we still need. And then you can kind of more direct focus in that second window. We got to get this many defensive backs, so we better bring this many on campus. We better be involved with this. It's a lot more, it feels like it's a lot more specific in this second short window than that first 2-3 week window when everybody is just trying to grab whatever they can out of the pool. It's interesting. It's that part of this always fascinates me, how they adapt and adjust and what the strategy becomes as the new things, the new rules are implemented. That's how it feels like this second window went this year.
Yeah. And the commits rolling in really intensified that. Aaron or Ryan, did any of the names really pop out to you, or kind of excited to see what they can bring? Obviously, the Joe Royer name from Ohio State, Elder Connect. Ryan, I think you know a little bit about him. Some really big time names coming out of the portal.
Yeah, I think the Evan Pryor kid and Joe Royer, both from Ohio State, I think they have really big upside. But in terms of, it's kind of hard for me to judge a lot of these guys because we're not going to know jack shit until spring ball starts. Say, all right, how do these guys line up against each other?
Right.
And then we're not going to really know jack shit about that until camp starts. And then
Mhm.
really none of it even fucking matters until we start playing games. Because just like this year, we had a bunch of names, we had a bunch of pieces we thought fit really well. And then there's guys you see come out of nowhere, and there's you guys you see you thought were going to have some shit that you saw in camp kind of fizzle out throughout the year. And I think that's the recipe throughout all of college football. It's hard. It's like a hectic free agency, just trying to find guys that we think is going to work on our team and in our culture. But at the end of the day, you're just bringing in a lot of guys that either haven't played a lot of snaps or they played a lot of snaps at a different level of football. So I really won't be able to get anything in true excitement because I don't really know that much about these guys and like what they've done and how and what they'll be able to do at Cincinnati. But I think spring ball will be a good first taste of that.
Knowing
You know
that,
what?
knowing that Dante and some of the other leaders on this team, Kiner, Mace, Fletcher, that they were involved in the not recruitment, but the I guess recruitment of these guys when they were here in their visits. What does
That's
that
called
tell you, though?
recruitment,
That
Aaron.
yeah, but what does that tell you? Knowing those guys personally, that they okayed all of these guys to that was one of the things that at least the coaching staff told us was that all of these leaders were going to have to okay them being on the team. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it's good to know that they have their stamp. I haven't talked to them about it, but the way my first guess would be is like they're like, we like these guys, like unless you guys absolutely despise them being part of the team, like we won't take them. But I don't know how much of the process they actually have in choosing.
I'm told
at
in the first window, Ryan, I'm told there were a couple thumbs down. Like
oh really?
the leadership council
Okay,
says
that
no,
surprised me.
and they backed off of the kid.
Yeah,
So they at least
I respect that.
I haven't heard anything about the second window, but I did hear in that first window, right around the beginning of December, that there were a couple visits that they didn't get the vibe with the kid. They gave the thumbs down, and UC moved on. So
I like that because I mean, nowadays with the chaos that ensues, it's college football. It's kind of hard to stay true to your word just to begin with, and then you throw like this chaotic scenario of the portal and
yeah,
the timing
Speed dating.
and all that. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to like have coaches kind of tend to freak out because they got to win games and they might just go grab anything they can and kind of say, well, we said we'd
right.
pull these guys through you guys. So I'm proud of that. That makes me happy to know that the team has say in it because at the end of the day, it's about how the team meshes together. And we talked about it all last year with, you just take a bunch of random guys and you try to just throw a ragtag team together, but like free agency style. You're not going to have the same meshing of a team, the same culture, the bond that really is what took, when we had all our success, my last couple of years, it was all about the relationships, all about like what we were able to form together as a team. And that was through 5 years of, there wasn't the transfer portal, there wasn't
Right.
NIL, there wasn't all that shit. Doesn't mean it's impossible now. It just shows that it's a whole different dynamic. And I think, Satterfield kind of sticking to his word with letting the leadership council have a good say in it. I think that's huge.
That's the most important thing, right? It's one thing to say it, and then
Yeah.
you give them the chance, and then you show them whether you put that faith in them or not. Because if they gave a thumbs down, and a month later that guy shows up for weights, well, wait a second here. Like you said, we had some say in this process, and I don't think we do. And
especially if that guy's showing up for weights and kind of just lackadaisically going through the motions, and that's what you were pissed off about to begin with. That's all bad.
well, yeah, it starts from the day they show up, and then what happens from there can make it worse, of course. But if they're unequivocally like that leadership group that you have in place says, look, we hung out with this guy, we don't think he's what we are, and then next thing you know, that guy's there. That trust is burned immediately, right? Immediately.
Yeah, that's a great point. I really like it. I think it's good. I mean, it doesn't guarantee you anything, obviously.
No,
you
it
know,
doesn't. It
but
ultimately
yeah,
it doesn't mean shit other than you're earning the trust of your players.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. 1, new staff. 2, bad year. I mean, it would be a very bad idea to kind of say F our word to you guys going in the offseason after such a rocky year. So I think that's a step in the right direction for sure. And I like the eat. It kind of just reminded me, we're talking about culture, that the brand that they're going with this offseason: effort, attitude, toughness. They've been kind of plastering that all over the place. So I like that. Those are 3 good words. They make
Better
me
than
happy.
team.
I always thought team was so corny, dude. It was like I told you guys that. I feel like I would see that at like summer camp or something, like up on with like the camp counselors. And it always surprised me because Fickle's like such a hard ass. I was like, this is kind of corny coming from.
Was he
Mr.
the only one
Intensity.
that would say it though, or did he like make you all say it?
No, it would be like Brady would say it sometimes. Like they wouldn't like be like super like weird about it. They just be like,
Right.
just remember, guys, like team together, everyone cheese more. Like they just throw it in there subtly sometimes. It wasn't like a huge, like every day, like we come in T together, E everyone, A. Stupid shit like that.
Royer, be the T. Go be the T, Royer.
Yeah, we're dancing it out like cheerleaders.
Maje, I told you to be the A.
I'm just disappointed we didn't get a
I don't want
Brady
to be the
impression.
fucking A.
I don't want to be the
I'm
A.
not being the fucking A. Fuck all
I'm done. Yeah. As far as
boy.
particular players go, though, Chad, Aaron, you guys glossed over a couple. Any that really pique your interest? Obviously, they filled some holes. The defensive backfield, tight end needed to add another name. Running back room seems to be pretty much set at this point. And anyone really jump off the page or from what you've heard or anything along those lines?
Anything that's secondary.
Chad, have you elaborated on your? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
You're good. I was just gonna say anything that's secondary or tight end at this point, as those were, I think, going, especially once Shimon bounced. I think those were high areas of need, and I'm excited about anybody that we've added there. I'm going to certainly be keeping an eye on those battles.
Yeah, and Joe Royer got a couple snaps at Ohio State. He was behind one of their biggest leaders in that Stover, big farm fucker. But Chad, I was wondering if you had any info on that little nugget you threw out about Mr. Lincoln Riley trying to steal our boy.
Yeah,
have you elaborated on that?
USC was heavy on Will Howard from Kansas State that went to Ohio State, and then it was right in that window that Will Howard committed to Ohio State. So USC is having to try to figure out, okay, what's next. I'm told Lincoln Riley called Brendan Sorsby, tried to get him on campus for an official visit over these past couple days. Sorsby was already here at Cincinnati, waiting for classes to start today, and said, I appreciate the call, but I'm a Bearcat. So that's what went down.
He was over at Langsam studying for his classes.
The guy's serious. He stands on his business.
Let's go.
I respect that.
You
hey,
look,
man.
What?
Keegan even told me, like, look, man, somebody like somebody at the level of USC comes calling, I'm probably going to leave. That's what he, I'm like, all right. Thanks for letting me know where you stand.
Freaking traitor. Strip his check mark away.
But yeah, no, it was after he started following, like what people were reading tea leaves on good old social
I think
media.
the connection was the wide receiver coach or something.
Followed the quarterback coach, followed the wide receiver coach, followed.
Yeah.
God, yeah. How do dudes how do they find that shit? Like I never.
Who's got time for? There's got to be an AI that does that for you at this point.
Yeah.
No, there's a handful of people that literally I think dedicate a lot of their time to that. Which, hey, It's useful. It's useful.
It's
You know, you
Look,
sad.
There at one point, like when Kaz was here, Kaz made a lot of changes to the roster, like over time. So there were people that habitually, like once every 2 or 3 days, they had the roster memorized. And if like a walk-on came off the roster, they would post on the board, like, hey, I saw number 15, Billy Joe Hansen from Old
Western
Pawtucket
Brown.
High. Yeah, Old Pawtucket High in Northwest Ohio isn't on the roster anymore. I'm like,
Wyatt
I didn't
Fisher.
know he was on the. Hey, you don't you there? This is a Wyatt Fisher appreciation podcast.
I'm just.
Hey man, we
I
talking
thought of
Fenway Bull
number.
Wyatt Fisher.
I thought of
baby.
number 14 because you said 15, and then I just thought of Western Brown because you were
Fenway Bull Wyatt Fisher, Royer. Come on now, baby.
Wyatt's my boy, man.
I loved
love
Wyatt
Wyatt.
Fisher.
How about
I
the?
love Wyatt.
I have slowed down some like highlight videos of basketball to be like, is that who I think it is in the background of like practice or something? And it looks like he's dressed. He might not be hurt. We've all done it. We've all done it. But
Some of you people
Inaccurate.
are
Inaccurate.
yeah, I don't. It's
Derek-
my living, and I don't do that.
Derek Canteen is a name that has drawn my eye a little bit.
Yeah,
Started at Georgia Southern. How about this, Royer? At Georgia Southern, his freshman year, he was named to both the Football Writers Association of America and the Athletics Freshman All-American team. Had 6 interceptions and a 22-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. And then he transferred to Virginia Tech. And he comes up, he hits, lays the wood at the line of scrimmage, he can tackle, cornerback. And if you look at his commitment picture, it looks like he's got some long arms. He looks like he's got some good length out there. Obviously it says 5'11" for the height, but it looks like he's got some length to that 5'11" frame as well. So he's one that definitely caught my eye.
I was having this debate with the Rock of Truth guys. We were just talking about how a lot of the Rock of Truth, the old, your boys. And
sounds familiar.
Some like Mr. MetLife is like, oh, we're getting all these small school guys. Like, here we go again. And then we were kind of like, no, like we want guys that can like make plays, that have shown they can make plays. They got snaps under their belt because they can adjust to stuff in the Big 12 a lot quicker than guys that aren't even playing and don't have a lot of tape. So, that's kind of the way
you need a mix. It's like everything. Like they've got some guys coming from Ohio State and from West Virginia and some Power 5 programs, and they've got guys that are stepping up a level.
Yeah.
Like you have to find
Ryan
that right
Cook.
mix of both.
Every time
Darian
you think
Beavers.
about just think about
Darian
Brian
Beavers
Cook.
played for an independent D3 school before he got here.
Darian Beavers.
Yeah, UConn.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, did he go somewhere before UConn? Then I got what you're saying.
No, UConn.
Dude, that picture of Beavers in high school still blows my mind.
Oh yeah,
Look,
it's crazy.
D'Artagnan Tinsley was at Kentucky Christian. And
What's
he's
he rolling
tracking
there, like
towards
200 or something.
Yeah. He's tracking towards being an all-conference level guard. Go find the right guys. Watch the tape. Go find the right guys. Tell Joe Met to go watch the interview we did with Zach Green. And then get back to me on the process.
Not a man in the country that's watched more tape than
Tell MetLife to just shove it.
There you go, Brent. I finally found him.
Tell him to worry about the Lady Eagles, and then he can worry about the Bearcats. His girls basketball team.
Derek Canteen. And of course, as you mentioned, Chad, it's a good mix of both. You look at a player like Joe Royer, who only has what is it, 4 or 5 catches in his career at Ohio State.
Yeah,
but he was, I think, higher rated than Josh Wiley coming out of high school. Was obviously played with Luke Kandra at Elder. He's a guy who's shown flashes, and a guy who Tennessee wanted pretty doggone bad. If I'm reading the tea leaves in the article that Keegan put up, but when you have another high level Power 5 team, SEC team, wanting Joe Royer, you think, okay, well, this guy probably still has some left in the tank, especially.
I also was
based on
told.
pedigree.
I also was told there's an ACC team or an AAC team that might be an ACC team in the near future that was offering a pretty significant NIL package in the Joe Royer sweepstakes.
Oh, wow. See?
Pony up. They were
Yeah.
ponying
Smooth.
up. They were ponying up a lot of dollars.
Safe to say he didn't ride the expressway down there, huh?
No, he's a Bearcat.
He's a Bearcat. Of course, it looks like the running back room is probably pretty set for now. 5 deep in that room for at this point. What do you think in spring is going to be the main focus as far as portal additions would go?
I mean, probably a wide receiver. I know there's a JUCO kid that they really want and would like to have up right before that second signing day in February, Leland Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're very high on him. So we'll see if they can get him up here to visit before that second signing day. And then still probably another wide receiver. I mean, I'm not completely closing the door on wide receiver in this window, but I think it's unlikely. Like, it would be a surprise if there was another wide receiver added, but not like a shock. You know, there's a couple names still in play that I think are probably going elsewhere, but Cincinnati has been in and around those recruitments.
Okay.
But I would guess they'll do their best to get Leland Smith, and then see what wide receiver holds in the portal in the spring. Yeah, that's kind of where I see wide receiver. They got a lot of defensive backs. I'm sure they're always looking for as many as they can get.
Yeah,
I think you might see another one there in the coming days. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah,
so it's not quite game over.
Yeah. I think there's still one more this week. I think we'll see one more. There's a potential to see one more this week.
Okay.
And then my understanding is outside of this last one we're waiting for, everyone will be here by the end of the week and in classes, and the entire transfer class should be ready to go and be a part of spring practice. So that's going to make spring pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's a potential that we're going to have a lot of dudes to watch freezing our butts off at Nippert Stadium this spring.
Joining the early enrollees in the weight room with Nico Palizzetti.
Oh, by the way, Brent, next Monday night.
Nico.
Next Monday night. Our old friend returns.
Extra gravy.
Our old friend returns.
Aaron, anything left on the names? I did like the connection of Varner to Walt Stewart. Varner obviously was all AAC at Temple, didn't quite produce at Wisconsin, but a guy who put up some great stats in the AAC, but still a good build on him and familiarity.
He was all conference at Temple in 2022.
Yeah. So, Aaron, anything else pique you on the commitments?
Logan Wilson becomes the second Logan Wilson playing football in the city of Cincinnati, as there is a linebacker of the same name for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nice of Logan to play for both teams. I like it.
I think that's how it goes.
Very good. Very good. Well, want to timestamp this? Well, and also Jared Bartlett, great addition. He's a guy that was loved by West Virginia. Everyone's kind of freaking out a little bit, scrambling over there. I imagine he's going to fill in really well at the dog position if I had to venture and guess. But man, that's a high talent that has shown that he can produce at a high level at this in the conference. So it'd be exciting to see that. But
look, I think if we're being honest, I think losing George Gums hurt. Like, I think that was the guy that they really felt had a lot of potential, but then they backfilled him with 2 more pass rushing types. So that's the look. The portal is crazy. It's going to be crazy. There's nothing you can do to keep it from being crazy other than continue to be ready
Right.
for whatever might happen until these kids are on campus and in class.
And bitch at whatever governing body is in charge at how stupid the rules are. Because
To fix
good
this shit
God.
because it's the wild, wild west. Crazy. All right. Do you want? Is this where you want me to timestamp, Brent?
Yep.
Or you don't want to talk anymore recruiting?
I'm done on recruiting.
All right. And I thought maybe you had something else to get to, but I guess we'll timestamp here. It's the Quick Paper Supply timestamp, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies. So products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, and to-go bags, can liners, napkins, etc. They have been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nico at 513.
Nico's the guest next week.
Call Nick at 513 470 2029.
You can call Nico. He'd probably be very confused, but
it's correct.
he said, "Hey, I'm here just trying to build a football team. I can't help you with these."
I think Nico would try to get you in touch with Nick. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's how Nico is. He would try to get you in touch with Nick.
Just friends helping friends, man. Bearcat friends helping friends.
All right. Mailbag. First question in the football portion of the mailbag. Do we expect all transfer portal guys starting spring semester class at UC? This way they're locked in and they can change schools.
Yes, that's what I just... Aaron must not have been listening. I expect them all to be here and in class by the end of the week.
Well, I was getting the timestamp typed up and producing work. First off, after seeing the roster now before practice, how many wins do you see with the current roster for the following? Please answer both sides of the ball. In your opinion, was the most talented... In your opinion, who is the most talented transfer in? Who was the most important piece to get?
Merk, why do we have to do this? They're so long. I don't know yet with wins on the current roster. Like, for me, this comes down to one thing, and we're going to talk about it all off season. We'll be talking about it until kickoff at the end of August. Is Brendan Sorsby the answer at quarterback? Yes. Yes. If he is,
the success measuring stick is bowling, right? Like, you have to go bowling.
Yeah, for this, get back to a bowl game for sure. Like, that's step one. When you've had a year as bad as last year was, the first reasonable step is, okay, year 2, find a bowl game. Are they better on defense? I think they added enough guys with like a get to the quarterback pedigree on the defensive line that you hope that is easier accomplished this year, that guys aren't standing back there like the damn Statue of Liberty waiting for people to run open 30 yards down the field, 40 yards down the field. So I think they're better there. And, you know, this all rests on Sorsby. Like, I hate to do that. Like, that's not fair to the kid. But that's where we're at. Like, quarterback wasn't good enough last year, and it cost them games. And if quarterback is substantially better, then, you know, we're maybe having a different conversation through the portal next year. So, yeah.
I think most important guy was, Sorsby, without question, on offense. Defense, I'm going to say maybe Kai Stokes.
Safety is definitely a problem spot. I don't
Probably
feel
name anybody on the secondary that they got.
right. Who steps up as a capable starting corner, and it's them, whoever that is. Because it's, I don't have the angst for Jordan Young that you do, Aaron.
It got better at
But
the end of the season.
yes, he improved. And I think as he continues, I think we forgot like he was a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, he was.
Like,
He was very young.
Because all of the other transfers they brought in were like 6 year,
Not-
late
Right.
process guys. I think we lost track of the fact that he hadn't been doing this for very long. So I think there's still some promise for him. If you can find a guy opposite him and you've got two corners and your safety position is a lot older, a lot more mature, a lot more solid.
Even Kalen
then you
Carroll
can be
got
okay.
better as the season progressed. So, I mean,
He did.
Now that he's got those starts under his belt,
I'm really interested to hear Reuters' thought on this whenever he comes back. What effect it has on cornerbacks when they have strong, good safeties behind them. You know what I mean? It seemed like safety was kind of a weaker spot than we give much look to this past year. They could never really figure out who was going to be that position next to Threats, and Threats also kind of had that weird kind of a season feel to it as well. But with safeties, like you mentioned, Chad, that are competent and they seem to have a high level of just at least experience playing football at that position at the Division I level. So what that does for cornerbacks, knowing that they've got safeties behind them that can make big plays. So I think you'll see Jordan Young take a step. I think you'll see Carroll take a step when he's out there. I think, if they decide to throw Canteen out there at one of the other corner positions as well, I think you'll see the ability to know that you've got that backstop that's really leveled up from this past season.
all right. Are all the commits enrolled in classes are expected to? We did get to that. Coach Sat and staff are on fire or just doing what is expected after 3-9?
A little of both. Like, you still have to get them here and get them to commit. You still have to have, the right NIL packages and the structure in place that have kids that want to come in. But that's the job. That's what you're supposed to do. It's what we talked about as soon as the season ended and we were looking at portal season ahead of us. They needed to take exodus from the bottom of the roster and add to it in that place strength at the top to middle of the roster. On paper, it looks like they've done that. We don't know yet if they did.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying the only thing I think they really hit, potentially their best hit that was kind of big, was the Sorsby.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like being on fire. I mean, I think it's hard with this NIL. You see like, oh, like so-and-so from like this like Power 5 conference committed. And like, you see like a bunch of those guys all like do it in one little batch. And it might appear as like, oh, we're like doing some crazy shit right now. But I think that's just part of the process. I think a lot of schools in our shoes are doing the same kind of thing. So I wouldn't say we're like knocking it out of the park, but we'll never really know until these guys start playing like Big 12 conference games, just like how we saw this past year.
I mean, for the most part, Ryan, you can see in practice
if
a guy has talent or if a guy is bad.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. But, kind of how we thought a lot of our DBs in our secondary was through spring ball and camp. We kind of had a little bit higher expectations because of the competition they were going against and the depth of the receiver room. And we were kind of surprised how big the drop-off was throughout conference play. That's kind of what I was alluding to. But yeah, you'll see like when it gets to be good on good in camp and spring
I'm just
ball,
adding.
like,
I'm
oh,
not.
this
I
guy's
wasn't disputing what you're saying. I'm adding to what you're saying. There. I mean, you can. There. I'm not going to name names, but there was a guy that transferred in this year that played very little. That was very clear when he got here. Like, and he played somewhere else that was decent and had an impact. But when he got here, you could just tell like this isn't a fit. He's probably not going to see the field outside of special teams.
Yeah.
Why is Sorsby that much better than Drogosh? He's a year plus farther along. He has played 6 games in the Big Ten. There are a lot of Big Ten coaches that really respected how good he was in the second half of the season compared to, and Brent can speak to this, the quarterback play that Indiana got before he took over. So there's a lot of people that believe he's got a chance to be really good. And quarterbacks don't come free in the portal, especially the good ones to pretty good ones to great ones. So he's coming in as a Big Ten starter. He got paid. Let's just be honest about it. He's going to have a shot for this to be his job. That's why he was brought in. Hopefully Brady Drogosh is excellent in the spring and in the summer, and Brady Lichtenberg, and they push Sorsby. And now it's not just a foregone conclusion. But if you're asking me who I think is going to be the leader in the clubhouse, who's going to take, the meaningful reps throughout spring, I'm guessing Brendan Sorsby.
Something would have to go very wrong if Sorsby wasn't the starter. Like, we would have had to made a huge error in our decision making.
Or one of them just jumped up and had a great offseason, but
they would have
starting
to do
from
a
ahead.
lot better. Yeah, they would have to do like undoubtedly better because we have a lot of vested capital in our boy Sorsby.
All right.
Agreed.
And this one came in while we were doing the podcast, but until when can a transfer commit flip? Do they have to physically go to class, or does the semester have to start for their school? We've been over this many times.
Sit their ass down in a class.
Yep. Got to be there. That's why George Gomes was able to, regardless of him signing, that's why he was able to do what he did and go to Florida.
But with that new thing that passed, can't you just enter the portal again?
There are penalties for like doing it like double dipping. You're not supposed to be able to double dip.
Right.
I'm sure there are going to be exceptions, but like once you enroll somewhere for the year, you're there for the year, essentially. That's how it's supposed to work. It's the NCAA. Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, freaking Memphis added that one dude from Kansas State, and he's a stud.
Yeah, but he hadn't played at Kansas State. They kicked him out of school.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Memphis just had
like
2 dudes.
If he would have gotten some games underneath his belt, then might have been different.
Then he would have not have been eligible to play.
Same as Mikey Williams, who they're saying might go to UCF now from Memphis, which is another wild thing, but whatever.
All right.
That's crazy because Memphis was trying to do right by the kid who just had like serious felony charges against him.
Yeah.
You don't hear me defend Memphis often, but I don't know that Mikey Williams is going to be at the front of my call list on like we could use some midterm help in December. Although, if you watch UCF against Kansas State, I get it.
Yeah. They'll take all they can get.
That's the end of the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. We are 1/3 of the way there. Brent, what is your prediction on the following by end of season? First team All Big 12, second team All Big 12, MVP All Big 12.
MVP right now it's Hunter Dickinson.
Oh, no. I thought you were saying like I did not understand this question at all.
Who's first team All Big 12? Who's second team? I have no. They played one conference game. What are we doing? Every team's got 2 all league level players. So until we get to March, like that's 28 all Big 12 level players for 10 spots. I don't know.
Usually you take like the best player from the top 3 teams. So Kevin McCullough, Hunter Dickinson, they'll probably both be on it.
Yeah.
Max Asmus, maybe LJ Cryer. I don't know. Vic, if Vic can play like he did against BYU, he'll be up there for one of the 3 teams. But yeah, it's too early to tell for that.
What is UC's answer to dynamic shot creating guards like Asmus tomorrow? Is Day good enough on the ball, or do they try throwing bigger wings like John/Dan at guys like that?
First off, you got to do a better job staying in front. Like you just have to be more sound fundamentally in moving your feet and beating the guy to the spot. Like that's been the biggest. It hasn't been a talent issue. It has been an effort issue that they have allowed guys to just get to their spot and dictate action. That's a man up, mano y mano. I'm going to get a step ahead of you and take away what you do best. Because it's on tape. They know. It's not a secret. Max Asmus is not coming in here tomorrow and doing a move that they haven't watched on tape over the past 36 hours. Like, do your assignment, beat the guy to the spot, and make him pass it. If you let him get to exactly where he wants to get, he's going to rise up and take a shot he wanted that he's comfortable with. So it doesn't come down to switching strategies or whatever. It's man on man, win your matchup, and beat the guy to the spot.
Mano. That's
what good defense is. Are there elements of help in it? Sure, of course there is. Like, there wouldn't be help defense if not, but in the grand scheme of things, what this team has not done well enough is prevent the opponent from getting the ball where they want it to go. And that's a man up thing.
Anything to add there, Brent?
Not necessarily. I think like Chad said, game plans will be drawn up, and I think Day can handle Asmus or if he's going to be put on Hunter. I think you want to kind of defend the 3-point line against those 2 guys too. So if you have to put a big on him with Aziz in there as a rim protector, I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid again, so I'm gonna take a step back.
That's not Kool-Aid. That's called wine, Brent.
Oh yeah, that too.
Plays of the
as long
game.
As you don't drink that post pit game Kool-Aid. I think as long as you stay away from whatever was in that all 4 of us drank on our way.
Whatever was flowing in Pittsburgh.
Look, we were on our way to Hail Bop with the new sneaks on. It's a Heaven's Gate cult reference that may be before your time, Ryan.
I just laughed at it. I had no idea what you meant, but I just pretended like I did.
Oh, boy.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
All good. Plays of the game. Vic's 3 to go up 11 points at 2:40-minute mark. Day breaks the press and passes to Aziz for the dunk 2 minutes left, or Newman steal an angry dunk to stop a BYU run in the first half, or any of your choosing.
Probably the Vic 3.
I thought that was the dagger.
You go up 11 with 2.5 left, like you're gonna have to mess up real bad to not get that thing home.
He was very selective with his 3. I mean, he had a guy closing from the side.
Like, that wasn't an easy one. So kudos to him. He banged it. That was a big one.
Brent, any other plays that stood out to you than those 3?
I think the whole Jizzel segment was
yeah. I was going to say, Brent, the Dan getting shoved out of bounds and cross-courting it to Jizzel for the open 3.
Yeah, that was massive. Because
Yeah,
that's when you can start to kind of get a pulse. I also love the 2 failed backdoor attempts by Khalifa on their team, because that showed that Cincinnati kind of made adjustments
Figured
at
it out.
halftime and kind of had things in control at that point.
Yeah.
The dunk by Aziz, and then he goes down, gets he gets the defensive rebound, throws it off of the BYU player. That segment was awesome, and also you out rebounded one of the best rebounding teams in the country. That's Bearcat basketball, baby. That's why you bleed red and black, right, Roy?
Here's what I would say on that Jizzel 3 where Dan was getting shoved out of bounds. Trying to keep the sanity here. That put him up 5. And at that point, like, I remember thinking to myself, how the fuck are they up 5? Like, what just happened? Right? Like,
Yeah.
This is a game that they were playing like dog poo, and now they're up 5 and looking like the much more confident, cohesive team on the road in a place that's supposed to be one of the toughest environments in the country. So I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Dan gets shoved out of bounds, hits cross court to Jizzel. Jizzel makes a 3. They go up 5. There was 9:30 remaining at that point, and I think it got to 4 once, and other than that, that was the closest it ever got.
Which brings us to game ball goes to key stat of the game. I'm going to say Jizzel James and his points in very limited minutes.
Rebounding.
Go on, John. Go ahead, Brent.
John.
Yeah, go on, John.
Give me
a couple key steals in that first half when they couldn't get any offense going. He rebounded like a monster. He guarded like a monster. 8 points, 5 rebounds. I just watching him like kind of frustrate, what Nell and what they were trying to do on the prayer. Not Nell, but Robinson. Like Robinson is dynamic. He scored 5 points. He was 2 of 7 from the floor. He didn't go to the free throw line. What John was able to do on him to really get him out of his game was impressive to me.
Royer, I'm going to give you Vic Locken. Just say he had 17 points and 7 rebounds. And then I'm going to take.
Sounds good to me.
I'm going to take Aziz Bandaga because, man,
defensive glass.
He was a
Forget
dog.
the points. Forget the points. What he did on the defensive glass demoralized BYU. They couldn't get to anything.
Dog.
Yeah.
A dog out there. And my stat of the game is out rebounding arguably the second best rebounding team behind Cincinnati by 11 on their own home court.
Yeah. Big time. And they missed. Both teams missed a ton of shots. And Cincinnati dominated the glass.
Any insight to Wes's halftime speech at BYU, or if one of the players fired everyone up? Any key changes in the defense in the second half?
No, I don't generally ask locker room questions because coaches and players don't really want to tell you those things. So no, I didn't see anything schematically that they did a whole lot different. They were trying to speed BYU up. They were trying to be physical with them. They wanted to throw off. This is one of the key things you have to do with a great passing team is you have to impact their timing. And it felt like that, especially once things started rolling downhill. I mean, they went 3 for 14 or 3 for 7, 3 of 17 in the final 12 minutes of this game. Like, they were not comfortable in anything that they did. So it just felt like what I was talking about earlier. You have got to man up and say, I'm not getting beat. The ball is not beating me to this spot. And when you have a team that decides that's how they're going to play, for the most part, you're a lot more successful. Other than, hey, we're more talented than them. It doesn't matter. Like if this guy dribbles over here into the middle of the floor and gets whatever he wants from 12 feet, be it a shot, a layup, a pass, we'll be all right. No, you don't let that guy get it inside the elbow and you make him pass. And then you make them reset their offense and try again. And there was a lot more of that in the second half. And I also thought BYU, and I still don't know why Nell sat for 7 minutes, other than he must have just been absolutely gassed. Remember, he had 9 made threes at the 12-minute mark. And then he sat for 7 minutes. He had to be completely out of energy. That's the only thing that makes sense, right?
Yes. Heard of any former players returning or special guests? Heard of any former players returning or special guests in for the game tomorrow?
Yes. Yancey Gates.
Yancey Gates said he was going to be there. Yeah, I saw that.
Which I hope they do that little standing roar of, during a timeout.
Oh, you talk about the legend of Yancey Gates has grown over the years.
And that's a dude that like the entire fan base will be like, yep, there he is, Yancey Gates.
All right.
There he
that the
is.
Bearcat,
There he is.
Big dog.
Now that the Bearcats are 1-0 in the Big 12, the following questions need to be answered with regard to promises made if we start 6-0. Number 1, will Brent adjust his camera angle to reveal 100% of his shirtless top half or stay with the neck and shoulders view? Number 2, what sauce will Chad put on his cardboard, or will he eat it dry?
Aaron, did I say I would kiss Dave on the mouth if they go 2-6? I thought, or 2-4. I thought I said 3-3. If they get to 3-3, I'll kiss you in the mouth. Is what I said. I think.
I don't put that. Don't put that on me. You didn't.
You're the producer. It's your job to listen to the show.
I listen.
I just talk.
When you guys talk about kissing each other, I'm all the way out. That's between y'all. Not a third party to any of that.
Shouts to Killer V, man.
He's got
one
receipts.
dedicated listener right there.
What sauce will Chad put on his cardboard, or will he
sauce
eat it dry?
sauce?
Galactic hot sauce.
Galactic maybe a mix of galactic sauce and sauce.
Well, maybe if Buffalo Wild Wings is sponsoring that episode, where exactly will the Burning Couch podcast take place, and will you be wearing hazmat suits? It'll be on Short Vine, where all the other couch burnings happen. Bonus question: given Chad is kissing Dave on the mouth if we get to 2 Big 12 wins out of the first 6 games, is Chad secretly rooting against the Bearcats on Tuesday? No, he is secretly rooting for the Bearcats for just that.
Dave and I were joking around going through the first 6 games, and I'm pretty sure I said if they go 3-3, I'll kiss you on the mouth, like just being a smartass. And now Killer V likes to not only hold me to what I said, but I think he's fudging the numbers.
He's got a recording of it in his room. He keeps playing back.
Well, I mean, everybody's got a recording of it. Everything we do is on the internet for work. That's what we do. If I said 2-6, okay, I'll kiss him on the mouth at 2-6. But I'd rather
weird episode. A really weird episode.
What would happen at 8-0?
6-0. It's a 6-game stretch.
I thought
we were just specifically talking about the first 6 Big 12 games.
Yeah.
All right. Justin Berg is asking, 2 years ago, this was arguably the worst rebounding UC team since the 1980s. Now they are top 5 in the country. How did Wes turn that around so fast? Surprised he didn't ask to come on the show to discuss that very topic.
Get guys that can rebound, recruit rebounding.
Taller wings.
No, Aaron. I'm talking about the one thing that translates to every level of basketball is rebounding. If I watch a guy in AAU and he doesn't rebound in AAU, I guarantee you he will not ever be a good rebounder in college.
Makes sense.
Wes has talked about this. The first thing, somebody told him to go watch Dan Skilling's. I was there, same game. The first thing you noticed about Dan Skilling's was that he had a knack for grabbing offensive rebounds. He looked like a baby deer. He was all arms and legs. He didn't look like he had much clue of what he was doing. But the ball would come off the rim, and there was Dan with the ball in his hands. And we commented about it that entire weekend up in Indianapolis because it was just uncanny how good he was at rebounding the basketball. Well, guess what? In college, it is uncanny how good he is at rebounding the basketball. they translate. Gary could rebound. Trey could rebound. Like there's never been a guy. I don't remember a guy that I scouted in high school that couldn't rebound or didn't have the feel for it. And then all of a sudden, 4 years later, he's at like 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game. It's one of the most relatable skill sets, like translatable skill sets that you can have in basketball. If you can rebound, you can rebound. They went and got guys that can rebound. Dan, Vic, Aziz, Jamil. Like, these are guys that can go get the basketball.
You stepped on my "if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball" joke. Wes Miller got a big win. Josh Reed is carving out a role. The Vic Aziz too big lineup 8 against the Cougars. So what's the next annoying fan talking point this UC team is going to mow down?
That you have to cut Day Thomas's minutes. That you have to reduce his role.
I'll take you a step further. Starting Jizzel James.
No, because I think you're hell-bent on making this one or the other.
No, I'm saying that I think that'll be the next talking point that everyone's freaking out about is Jizzel James needs to be starting. It's already creeping. People are already creeping up with that, but
you started it 6 weeks ago, whatever it was.
I'll die on that hill. Is Jizzel in that sweet spot? Is Jizzel in that sweet spot of being super talented, but not one and done talented? Feels like he could be first team Big 12 as a junior, as a sophomore.
Not that Aaron sets expectations too high, but yeah, he is. Like, he's not 6'4" with a 6'10" wingspan playing point guard. So there's going to be some limitations.
46% from 3.
Right. So there's going to be some limitations early on whether or not he's
a college point guard.
Right. And he's going to develop, I think, into somebody that will have a chance to play in the NBA. But right now, he is on the track of I'm going to be a hell of a college point guard for 2-3 years.
Especially when he starts to get down you guys talked about it in the nightcap, how Dan, when he drives, he doesn't always have to look to score. You can look to pass as well. When Jizzel gets that going as well, the drive and then the kick, that'll be the next step of the evolution for him too.
Yep. For show.
That is the basketball portion of the mailbag. One last portion here, Brent. 2 questions left. We'll start here. Thoughts on Dez's future with the Falcons? Think they will give him another year as a starter? I'm going to guess no.
They're drafting a quarterback. They're bringing in a new coach. They've already fired their coach. The new coach and the new GM, whatever it is, they're going to get to pick their quarterback. That does not bode well for Dez as a starter in the immediate future. But Dez had enough success this year. There were ups and downs for sure. Dez had enough success this year as a starter. He is going to make a lot of money for a long time playing quarterback in the NFL.
You know what I hated? I listen to Pardon My Take all the time. It's a great podcast, but gosh, they hated Desmond Ridder, and it really grinded my gears.
You know why they hate? Why everybody hates Desmond Ridder? Because he took Cincinnati to the college football playoff.
Yeah, it feels like no one really liked Desmond Ridder. Like people are saying that pass that he had yesterday was the worst pass they've ever seen an NFL quarterback throw. And it's just God, y'all are some real big haters.
Haters.
Right after he had a unprecedented second quarter.
Yeah. Does that piss you off, Royer? Oh, I hate it.
I mean, I just thought it was so ridiculous. I was kind of laughing. Not laughing at Dez having to go through it, but just the ridiculousness of the fans and comparing him to Hitler. I don't even remember what they were. I've seen some insane
that's impressive.
It's insane, dude. Atlanta Twitter for the Falcons, going after Arthur and Dez was unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, their head coach couldn't figure out how to use several draft picks. So the fact that there was no success on the offense.
He also couldn't figure out how to get the ball to Bijan Robinson when he's a running back, and all you have to do is hand it to him.
Or Kyle Pitts.
Didn't Des get a
Drake
set a
London
damn record yesterday?
Yeah,
In the
first
second quarter, yeah.
it was the first time that somebody had put up stats like that since 2019.
Oh,
But
okay.
still, I mean, it was a really good quarter.
Man, but he sucks.
When you lose when you lose by like 24, your defense isn't doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Dez. Obviously, we're all biased, but God, the hate for him, it pissed me off a lot throughout the year.
And the last question in the mailbag, as always, coming from Skins. Rapid fire. Best cheese for a grilled cheese. I'm going pepper jack.
Pepper jack's really good. I like a pepper jack like a sharp cheddar type American type combo.
Yeah,
It's my favorite.
I mean, that government cheese is pretty good in a grilled cheese.
Sure.
The what?
You wouldn't know what government looked like in a lineup of cheeses.
When's the last time you had government cheese?
Where do you get? Where does one
the
purchase
hell is
government
that?
cheese, Brent?
I mean, isn't that American cheese? Is that what it is?
Oh,
No, it's a giant block of American cheese that you used to get when you were poor. You go to like the shelter or like the pantry, and they give you a block of government cheese.
Oh, well, American cheese is what I mean. Like a Kraft single.
Kraft singles are not government cheese, bro.
But I do like a little
Tell your
Gouda.
ass.
I like a little Gouda, a little Gruyere on my.
Oh my god!
You know the best way to make a grilled cheese is you put a nice fried up piece of Gouda and a fried egg in the middle, and you make it like that. That's
Well,
the best.
that's not a
cheese.
grilled cheese.
Sure, it is. There's cheese, and then
Gouda
Gouda,
salad.
and then egg, and then more cheese.
The funniest is watching Gordon Ramsay say he's got like the greatest gourmet grilled cheese, and that it just the cheese isn't even melted.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
because he put a 4-ounce block in there.
Right, and the bread's like this thick. It's
Yeah.
like this is the greatest grilled cheese.
The funniest was you saying government cheese and thinking it was Kraft singles.
Well, I think it's just slang these days, right? Right, Roy? That's what the kids these days are saying.
what?
Yeah.
That American
Exactly.
cheese is just government cheese. No,
No,
not.
no, that is.
that's not what the kids are saying, Brent.
Hey, man. Kids these days, you never know, man.
You've
Take
never
a
sounded
pop-
so rich. How do you layer your nachos?
So, have any of you
Oh.
been to Chili's and had their nachos?
I have
No.
not.
I can't tell
They
you last time I went
do-
to Chili's.
I haven't been in a long time, but sometimes on the road we would do Chili's because they would be the only place that was open in like Fort Wayne, Indiana at 11:45 on a Thursday night.
Welcome to
Um,
Chili's.
Individual nachos. Every nacho gets all the stuff.
Okay.
Like I have like a 16-inch pizza round,
Funky.
and you lay the nachos out in a single layer, and you load every nacho with all the toppings that you're aiming for, and then you put it in the oven and you let it cook for you let it heat up all and get together for like 5 minutes, and then you have nachos. There's nothing worse than a soggy, nasty chip that's almost
At the
inedible.
bottom.
Yeah. Individual nachos. What do you guys got?
I agree with the individual take.
Have you done it before, Royer?
No, but it just sounds way better.
It is way better. I like to do them. I like to do them with barbecue nachos, Ryan. Pulled pork, barbecue sauce, pickled
Whoa.
jalapenos, and processed cheese.
Are y'all seeing the squad they got on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Got
How
Steve
wild was
May,
that?
Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter,
Travis
Travis
Scott.
Scott.
And
Gang.
then someone walked in the background. They were all dapping them up. I couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah.
That's the Jordan suite up there.
Yeah.
When I make my nachos, we do a like cookie sheet And yeah, we kind of the same
Similar.
thing Dad's talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, we're
As long
just
as there's
throw
no
that-
refried beans, I'm good.
I like the mix of the nacho cheese and the shredded cheese. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I can throw
Ooh,
some
me
shredded
both.
cheese on at the end just for the hell of it.
right. Give me both.
we got a
I
cheese
like
shredder for
jalapenos.
Ooh, little Japaleno, baby.
we got a cheese shredder for Christmas, and it's a
Oh, you
game
go
changer.
shred
Just have-
that cheese.
just having one in the house as opposed to buying the bagged stuff that doesn't melt the same.
Oh, hey, that's
But-
true. Ask
You know what I
Skyline
did?
Chili.
You know what side dish tonight was with our wings, Royer?
What?
Jalapenos sliced in half, filled with cream cheese, wrapped with bacon, a little brown sugar on top.
Oh man,
That was
What
our
the
side
hell?
dish. It's a national
ain't
championship game.
that ain't right, man. That's too good.
Hey, man.
Stuffed jalapenos.
All right, and
wings.
the last question: Jackie Chan or Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris. That's not even a question. I mean, I
Like-
love Jackie Chan. He was
Are we
great.
saying
but
who wins in a fight? Like, what are we saying?
It's just Jackie Chan or Chuck Norris.
Who you got in a scrap in that one there, Roy?
Chuck Norris.
I think Chuck.
Although I did love the Rush Hour movies.
I love
liked
Jackie Chan. He's not beating up Chuck Norris.
I liked Rush Hour more than I liked Walker Texas Ranger, so I'm going Jackie Chan.
Hey, Aaron!
You've
Yeah.
never seen a Chuck Norris like kung fu movie, have you?
Me? No.
Like back in the 70s, 80s.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can tell.
Brent's never seen Government Cheese though, so
easy.
That is
That's
clear.
the-
that is
that is
very
that-
clear.
That's
One
the
thing I have
mailbag.
seen
Get
is
us
the
out
last
of here,
quarter and a
Brent.
half of this national championship game.
You know what?
Go ahead.
This episode is getting titled "Government Cheese."
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm
to
doing
them,
it. Oh, I'm doing it.
to the faithful. But hey, guys, massive win. 71-60 road victory over BYU. You get those bonus points, you know, that those bonus net points with a double
It's the
digit
biggest win in the country, Brent. It's the biggest win in the country.
bonus net points. Gosh, that's what I'm talking about. Big time rise. You got to follow it up with a win. Got to follow it up with a win. Tomorrow night, Texas Longhorns, Big 12 basketball is here. Stripe out Fifth Third Arena. Look up what you need to wear before you head in there, red or black. Hit up anyone if you need a red or black shirt. Aaron will hook you up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He'll give you the link or something. But it's going to be an exciting atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of electricity in that Fifth Third Arena. Michael Penix is throwing a deep ball, and he's overthrowing his guy. Royer, one quick key to stop Michael Penix the rest of the way from Michigan.
Have him keep
One
overthrowing
quick
balls
key.
like he's doing right now.
Got to get pressure in his grill. Got to get guys.
Hey,
Got to get
Curtis
guys in
Brooks.
all four rush lanes because he likes to like sidestep and do that quick little sidearm. So you can't just have pressure from one lane where he can just step right up like this.
What a punt.
See,
What a
Oh,
punt.
you're just told all Michigan fans how to win this game. Thank you. But
rush the
you know what?
passer well.
massive couple games, of course, obviously with Baylor coming up this weekend after Texas as well. So stay locked in. Bearcat Journal's humming. Portal still rocking. New commits. Everyone is on campus. Workouts firing up. But tonight was a great one. So for my guys, pals,
Everyone's not on campus yet, but everyone will be on campus by the end of the week.
boom. Oh yes, true.
Sorry for that one.
I meant the early enrollees for the most part, but
Yeah,
um,
you got excited. It's fine.
but you know what? It was great to get the whole crew back together again, guys. Awesome. But for my pals, the BBP back together, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer. I am Brent Young. Yet another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.